Welcome back, everyone. JAYBONE here for Smash This Podcast. We're doing this live on a Thursday morning. Don't do this very often in the morning, but JAYBONE had some family time last night. Oh, I clicked the wrong banner. My God. There it is. Not good, JAYBONE. Not good. All right. Here we go. And as we can see, JAYBONE has not had enough coffee yet today. So, no, we're okay. We're all right. We're discussing last night's AEW Dynamite fallout from Revolution this past Sunday. This is really a turning of the page moment for the company again. We're getting a lot of fresh starts. We're getting it's a whole lot of new in this episode of Dynamite. But before we do that, you know what we do? We smash that like button. We smash that sub button. We ring that bell for notifications. If you're watching live on Twitch, you can cheer bits. You can sub. You can gift subs. You can do all that stuff. And for your bone on the go, the audio portion of Smash This Podcast is on anchor.fm/Smash This Podcast. And it spreads it out all over the place. It really has become a great addition to the building of Smash This Podcast. The numbers are slowly growing. It's great to see. It's starting to pop up all over the place. It's on Apple. It's on Spotify. It's on Podbean. It's on Castbox and Bull Run and Rebel Radio. All these different places. So there's a great chance wherever you get your audio, who knows where it'll pop up next. Who knows? Oh, Verbal. That's another new format that it's popping up on. We got Zach in here. We got Terrence. Joey Z. Sounds like an old school like mafia name or something. It's Joey Z. Look out for Joey. This one was absolutely bonkers, folks. We started out, and I'll admit, I was not awake enough for this this first match. My God. What an amazing first match coming out of Revolution. We had Fenix with Pac out there because they won the Casino Tag Team Battle Royal at Revolution. Zach Bonifer with all sorts of crazy emojis. I don't even know what that is. What is that? Is that? Oh, that's Bravo. That's hilarious. Anyways, throw up all the emojis. Hell yeah. Phoenix and Pac because they won the Casino Battle Tag Team Casino Battle Royal at Revolution, which was just batshit bonkers to watch. So much fun. Great they got all those tag teams in there. Versus Matt Jackson, one half, of course, of the Young Bucks with Nick out there at his side. What a crazy way to start this one off. Gary's Movie Emporium showed up in the chat. What is up, brother? He says, I think I may go back and watch. I feel like I owe it to Christian. Huge fan of this. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'll get to that. Christian does have a big part in this later in the show. Critical Sting's in here. What's up? So Phoenix wins this one, folks. Quite, I'm going to call this the upset, just because of so much that happened on Sunday. But these two really went to war, and they even had collateral damage on the outside of the ring too, to Nick and Pac as well. We'll get to that, True Colors. We'll get to that. It says Impact paid for the bomb. You beat me to it. Yeah, that was cute. And that's in the segment that happened next here. You had some of the fallout. And look, this is all tongue in cheek. I'm not going to. I've said my piece on this whole thing. As far as the whoops that happened at the pay-per-view, it was supposed to be bigger. The controversy. It was going to be interesting to see what happened here, what they were going to say on this edition of Dynamite, coming out of the end of Revolution, and that death match, the exploding barbed wire death match. So we have the rekindling of some old road running buddies. We had Mox hanging out with Eddie, sharing some drinks, and Eddie talks about what happened. And it was basically, just to paraphrase here, short and sweet, what happened to Eddie at the end of that, in the discussion of, okay, how is he going to explain the overselling? And for those on audio, I'm using my quote fingers, overselling of everything that happened at the end. And he said, to sum it up real quickly, he said it was like it was basically PTSD from back when he was in jail and he blacked out. It was a panic attack, and that's what happened. So I mean, and then that's a real thing. That's a real thing that can happen, honestly. So I mean, it was a nice little way of explaining that. You can laugh at it. You can say, okay, whatever. I'm not going to overthink this. Oh, that coffee's good. Look, it is what it is. And then, Mox threw his 2 cents into, as well as already stated in the chat, that Impact must have paid for the bombing, talking about Don Callis, so whatever, little chuckle there, blame it on them. You could say Kenny, and it just furthers what Tony Khan said at the scrum, talking about there was a fizzle, there's where is the kaboom? It's just tongue in cheek explaining that, blame it on Don Callis and what happened. So maybe a little jab at Impact, and that's how this whole thing back and forth between Impact and AEW has gone, little jabs at Impact, but it keeps the war going. Could it happen that something is going to happen even more between AEW and Impact? Well, that remains to be seen. We'll get into that. Because we get a reveal later that I absolutely cannot wait for next week. It's going to be interesting. True Color says, I mean, if you had to pick 3 people to save this, Kenny, Mox, and Eddie ain't bad. Yeah, I mean, they did what they did, you know, and they were big enough to throw, you know, jokes at it later on in the show. So I feel like, you know, they didn't go out of their way to embarrass themselves. You know, I felt like Kenny in the promo later actually did a great job of that later. So Zach Potiphar says, blame it on the rain. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's such a classic. Enter Milli Vanilli. So yeah, nice little promo here. And Eddie showing how tough he is with his hand over the flame was funny. So yeah, Impact paid for the bomb. I wrote down LOL. Next we get Cody Rhodes out there. Just tough guy Cody Rhodes. You know, he's banged up. He keeps going. He had a very short match. I wrote down squish as we do here on Smash This Podcast. It wasn't, you couldn't even call it a squash. It was a squish because it was a little squash versus someone new to my eyes, Seth Gargis. He's 0-2 on Dark. Apparently he's been in some tag teams. I believe that's what they said, or some tag matches, I should say. So Cody's out there with Arn Anderson. Cody takes care of him with very little offense. And so he gets another win. Whatever. And then Tony Schiavone comes out to interview him. And they're so rudely interrupted by Pentagon and Alex. I apologize. I see him every week on BTE, Sammy Guevara's vlog, the pre-show going into Dynamite that I watch almost every week, you know, just to see who he brings out for interviews and such. With what's her name? Dasha? I can't think of her name. But Alex, someone in the chat, pop it up, please, because I can't remember what the guy's name is. So he's basically translating about half of the promo for Pentagon, and they make their way down to the ring area, just outside the ring area, and they're talking about how embarrassing it had to have been for Cody, and that he's lucky that Pentagon didn't make his injury in his shoulder any worse, and that just to sum it up, that he said Cody, if Cody is the prince of wrestling, then Pentagon is the prince of Lucha Libre. And that got quite the pop from the crowd, the Lucha Libre chant going on there. True Colors here says, I swear Shivani gets interrupted every interview. Yeah, he had a rough night tonight, didn't he? He really did. And that leads to a brawl because Pentagon says you're not even going to be able to hold your newborn baby with your injured shoulder. And that just infuriated Cody. Jumps over the barrier, attacks Pentagon. Brawl breaks out, has to get broken up moments later. And that is one of the big matches we're getting on the what is next week's show called? The Shamrock Slam or something. It's St. Patrick's Day show, and they've got some big matches. They really do. One of them is Cody versus Pentagon, as True Color says here. Yeah, so I can't wait for that. It's honestly, I'm gonna go out there. I'm going to call it a dream match that I didn't know I wanted. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how Cody gets through this. I mean, obviously, Pentagon is a man of some submissions, and it's he has a different style than his brother Fenix. So yeah, we'll see. I'm really looking forward to this. And as much as I thought that this was going to be a headliner, it's not the headliner. We'll get to that later when we find out who the headliner is for next week. Tony Khan was correct in what he said during the scrum. Zach Potiphar, is it really a interview? He calls out whoever and then they just do a promo. Yeah, it's it's meant to be an interview, and like I said, Tony Schiavone had a rough night. So yeah. Critical Stig says it's about time for Pentagon. Yeah, it really is. You can call it a push if you want. It's great to see maybe the start of a great solo run for him. I mean, he's still part of the Death Triangle, you know. There's no, he's gone from the Death Triangle. No, but there's no reason why he can't do solo stuff, or any of them can't do solo stuff. So, really looking forward to this next week. Cody versus Pentagon. Next, we get a challenge from a la Arcade, if you will. Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor, they want one more match with Miro and Kip. And I don't know if that's going to happen next week. I don't know if that was stated already that that's going to happen. I got to double check the card for next week. Hopefully, as much as I love sexy Chucky T and Orange Cassidy, I'm really hoping that Miro comes out of here with another victory. He needs that. We need to put this to rest and put Miro on another road here to becoming the beast he deserves to be, in my opinion. In my professional podcasting opinion. All right. Next, we get, and speaking of Tony having a rough night, he brings out Sting for an interview, and he's interrupted once again. It's not the last time. It certainly is not the last time. A very interesting interruption here. Sting is interrupted by one Lance Archer, someone else who is in the face of the revolution. I mean, they're really putting these people out there that were in the face of the revolution. It seems like everybody from that match is getting a little and or a lot of shine coming out of this. Very interesting. It's really great to see. So it's like, well, you got a winner. What happens to the rest of them? Well, they were all featured here. They were all featured here in one way or another. It's great to see. Yeah, interview, using my quote fingers again. Lance Archer with Jake the Snake Roberts comes out and interrupts him. And so this is, no fighting, just rudely interrupting, cuts a short promo, and then leaves with Jake. Jake grabbed the mic, says, Stanger. That was cute. So, yeah, Sting. Yeah, True Color says Sting versus Archer should be really interesting. It is. It really is. This is obviously going to be a slow burn towards something. I'm a little surprised to see Sting right away. I mean, he had a hell of a match. I just want to give them props again. That street fight at Revolution, the cinematic one, absolutely amazing. Absolutely. One of the best dare I say, by some opinions I've seen out there, the best cinematic match that I've seen since the inception of all this stuff going on during the pandemic. Absolutely one of the best. Critical Sting with a TNA chant. That's cute. Stanger versus Dallas, if you're going to go the TNA route, right? So, I mean, Lance Archer's really been around for a long time, if you think about it. You know, it's mid 2000s. He's had quite the road. So we'll see where this goes. I'm very curious to see what Sting does with Archer. Mark's in here. Good morning, Mark. We have, what's next? The debut. Yeah, there were some chuckles about this, unfortunately. Good match between the debut, in-ring debut on Dynamite of Ethan Page versus Lee Johnson. They seem to be having some audio issues with, sounded like a playback of some basketball audio. Poor Ethan. I believe they put this full match up on the YouTube channel, and I don't know if they corrected the audio or not, but I'm assuming they did. If you want to watch what it's supposed to sound like, yeah, True Color says AEW uploaded the full match on YouTube. Thank you. So yeah, at least they did that, because I mean, it was unfortunate for Ethan. I mean, it basically sounded like two different arenas going on. It was weird, and the most comical part of it, unfortunately, was the defense. And it was usually when Ethan was doing some big offensive thing to lead Lee Johnson out there. QT Marshall at ringside got to mention, because that does become part of this at the end. So, yeah, it was a bit of a bummer for Ethan, but it's not something that's going to, you know, destroy him. He's new. It's a fresh start in a new brand. I'm happy for him. He just put out a new vlog. I'm going to be catching up on that later today. And so yeah, be interesting to see what all happens with Ethan Page. I certainly do wish him the best of luck in this brand, because he is still, I mean, even though his departure, we don't need to, you know, deep dive into this, his departure from Impact was messy, to say the least, but still one of my favorites. I see big things for him here. You know, his charisma and his in-ring abilities will shine, I'm sure, in AEW. Mark says karma. A little bit of karma there. Yeah, not going to lie. But, yeah. So, but good match nonetheless. Lee Johnson taking the big L here from Ethan Page's debut, and with a little beatdown at the end, and QT Marshall just stands by at ringside and watches, and then slowly backs away, walks away from ringside, simultaneous to Dustin Rhodes coming out to the rescue of Lee Johnson. So there's a couple different things here going on. Obviously, there is a breakdown from the Natural Nightmares, as we saw at Revolution. QT Marshall spitting at Dustin Rhodes when things didn't go right in the Casino Tag Team Battle Royal. So obviously there is some dissension there, some parting of the ways, if you will, of QT Marshall from the Nightmare family. And QT Marshall is a very talented guy. We just haven't seen a whole lot of shine on him in this brand. So what is next? What is next for QT Marshall? Is he going to start his own family? Is he going to start his own group as he branches away from the Nightmare family? That remains to be seen. Is this also going to start something? Are we going to see like Ethan Page versus Dustin Rhodes? Is that going to happen? Maybe QT Marshall will take Ethan Page under his wing as he starts something new. We'll have to wait and see. I'm very curious to see how this all is going to unfold, and I hope you are too. Next, we've got a quick little segment here with Hangman Adam Page and his new mower that he bought recently from the big winnings. What if he got that in a briefcase of cash or just a giant check from Tony Khan, as this was the first quarter earnings of Matt Hardy. So he talked about he bought a few things. One of them was the mower that he was riding there. And then all of a sudden, Johnny Hungy comes out with the rest of the Dark Order saying, hey, let's go for ice cream. Everybody piles on the mower, and it almost flips as he does a wheelie going off camera and unfortunately leaving Five. Poor Five. He just does not get the love he deserves in this group. Very, very interesting. Comical, but you got to wonder if this is actually going to go somewhere. All right, we continue. Tony out there again, ready to interview one of the newest members of the AEW roster, Christian Cage, only to be interrupted by a bunch of girls with brooms. What is going on? Yeah, everybody's confused. This is not part of Christian Cage's entrance, I don't think, as they're saying as all this happens. And, well, of course, Kenny Omega's music starts, completely taking the shine away from Christian Cage's Dynamite debut. Kenny coming out with Don Callis and the Good Brothers in tow. Biz Cliz is alive here, folks. They come out to the ring and they talk about, they crack some jokes about what happened at the end, of course, of Revolution. Where's the kaboom? So they crack some jokes about that. Excuse me. True Color says nobody likes Five. Poor Five. Oh, Zach Bonifant. Jeez Louise. Oh, the shade. He said he got the mower from the Mexicools. I love the Mexicools. But anyways, in my defense of that, I did not realize at the time how ignorant at the time that gimmick was. Just and to realize later what it actually meant, and it was like, oh my god, yeah, that really was horrible. So, hey, the more you know, right? So, but we continue to see Kenny comes out with Don Callis and the Good Bros, and Don Callis claims Kenny is the king of the death match. Interesting. Your thoughts on that? And out comes Eddie Kingston, because they're talking about Mox and they're talking about Kingston, and a little bit of realism here. Don Callis absolutely destroys Eddie Kingston, and he's like, you were this close to taking it all at Impact Wrestling, and then I had to fire you because you just you create. He basically says he created his own demise, and Then out comes Mox because, of course, Eddie Kingston's always ready for a fight, no matter what the odds are. Takes a punch at Kenny. There incites the brawl. It's 3-on-1. It's ugly. Don Callis in tow, of course. Out comes Mox. And this spills to the outside of the ring. As it does spill out to the outside of the ring, we get the entrance that we so deserved earlier. Christian Cage comes out to what looks like a fallen Kenny Omega in the middle of the ring with somebody lost their shoes. Whose shoes was that? Somebody left a really nice pair of shoes. What's this shoe thing going on? I don't understand that. Some people really enjoy their clean looking shoes. I'm not a shoe guy. I have one pair of shoes, folks. I have one pair of shoes. I don't know, like, some outside work boots that I wear when I'm working in the yard. I'm not a shoe guy, but hey, everybody's got to have like their niche, right? So, so Christian Cage comes out and things get physical. Short but sweet little thing between Kenny and Christian Cage, getting physical in the ring. Christian Cage is just about to drop his finisher on him, and Don Callis pulls Kenny out of the ring just in time, and they scurry off, leaving the AEW title in the ring for Christian to stand over, and he holds it for a brief moment, looking at it like, hey, could add this to my championship case at home, maybe. So I'm certainly looking forward to seeing this, what I would call a dream match. Excuse me, in the future, down the road in AEW somewhere. Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega. Is this going to happen sooner than later? Is this going to be a slow burn? We'll see what happens next year. Obviously, Kenny has other things coming up sooner than later in April at One Impact Wrestling Rebellion. Next, we get a 3-on-3, which was very entertaining and fun to watch. Britt Baker, Nyla Rose, and Maki Ito singing through a majority of this. And it's her I think she has limited wrestling ability in the ring, but it's still very entertaining. Obviously, excuse me. Obviously, very talented women like Thunder Rosa carrying some of the action here and making Maki Ito look good. So, but it didn't take away from this. You just notice little things like that. So we'll see how long Maki Ito sticks around with her singing abilities and her comical in-ring competition. But Hikaru Shida, Thunder Rosa, and Ryo Mizunami, who is also very entertaining in the ring, I gotta add. They get the win here, but we're gonna remember the beatdown that Thunder Rosa got after beating Maki Ito in the ring, which looked like a modified driver. I'm not sure what Thunder Rosa's finisher is here. But it certainly dropped Maki Ito on her head, getting the 1-2-3. But Thunder Rosa then is immediately beat down from Britt Baker, Nyla Rose, and Maki Ito. And this leads to the announcement of headlining next week during the, somebody put it in there, what are they calling next week's main show? It was like the Shamrock Slam or something. I don't know, something like that. Something to do with St. Patrick's Day, the holiday. We're getting Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa, and that is going to headline next week. I can't wait for that. It sounds like that's going to be a lights out match. So who knows what kind of chaos they're going to do. True Color says St. Patrick's Day Slam. Okay, I was close. I like Shamrock Slam. Actually, that sounds like something you'd get at Denny's. I'd like to order the Shamrock Slam, please. And an extra large portion of the slam to go. Hell yeah. Anyways, so yeah, the beatdown from Thunder Rosa. I can't wait for that main event next week. Next, we got Matt Hardy with Private Party in the back, and Matt Hardy with his sour grapes after his loss to Hangman Page, and Private Party is trying to help him, cheer him up, and everything. And he says he introduces a new group that he's taking under his wing. I'm not sure what to think about this, but it's very interesting. A new tag team to the fold under the wing of Matt Hardy is the Butcher and the Blade with the Bunny. And they have an interesting little face-off with Private Party, like, I'm not sure how these guys are going to sit here. Are these guys all going to sit cozy together at the side of Matt Hardy? That remains to be seen. Now, I believe they have a match next week. I got to double check the card, but was it versus Bear Country and Jurassic Express, I believe, a 4-on-4. But their goal eventually here is to destroy the Dark Order, from what it sounds like. So we'll have to see. Just reading the chat here. Polar Family, what's up, man? He says he is not sold on the Butcher and the Blade with Hardy. Yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out. I mean, Matt Hardy certainly did help Private Party, I feel, and they got a nice little shine heading over to Impact Wrestling, going for the tag team championships unsuccessfully, but it was still a nice moment for them to go somewhere else and get noticed and get some more eyes on them. But we'll see how it happens. I mean, sometimes you just you try something new, because I feel like the Butcher and the Blade are a tremendous tag team, but they haven't had that moment to really break out and shine. I mean, they did have a shot, I believe, at the tag titles, or was it just a match against, maybe it was just a match against the Young Bucks. I don't think it was for the titles. I think when FTR had the titles? I forget. It goes back a few months. Last fall, whenever it was. So yeah, I hope this does work. We'll see where it goes. I'm not going to place any immediate judgment on it. There's some people not feeling it in the chat, but let's see where it goes. Let's not poo-poo it right away. Okay. Critical Sting says, so Bunny is never going to wrestle again, huh? Well, I don't know. Maybe that's what she wants. I'm not sure why she hasn't gotten in the ring much. I know there was a thing last summer? They had a brief thing where she was tagging with, what was it? Oh, Brandy Rhodes. And then they had some short rivalry. I'm not sure where that went. That kind of fizzled. I don't remember. But, yeah, we'll see. I'd love to see her in the ring again. I'm not sure. Mark says he misses Allie too. Yeah, she was a great part of Impact Wrestling, and then she went over to AEW, in their inception of things, and yeah, she had some in-ring competition in the beginning, and then she just kind of went away and just became the valet. Now, granted, look, I don't want to take anything away from Allie here. She is a good valet, excuse me. And, and Polar says she followed her husband. Well, yeah, and that makes sense. As others do, so why not? We need more like that. We have some significant ones in this brand, like Vicky Guerrero, who is a manager, mentor. You could put any title on that, certainly more than a valet. But I feel like valets are needed because I feel like that's something that's a nod to the old school days of, Missy Hyatt, among many others, stuff like that. Critical Sting says Allie signed before her husband did, though. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember what all happened, but obviously they ended up together, so. I'm sure Allie had a part in that, getting her husband in there. So, but anyways. What's next here? Okay, so then we got the AEW TNT Championship because Scorpio Sky won the Face of the Revolution match, grabbing that very large brass ring, which was a little comical. I was kind of like, oh, it actually is a brass ring there. But nonetheless, he got his shot at the TNT title here against Darby Allin, defending successfully. Great match, ending in what looks to be the complete heel turn of Scorpio Sky as he put some kind of ankle lock, whatever, on him and making Darby Allin tap out. So I would not be surprised to see if Scorpio Sky actually gets another shot at Darby Allin, but he looked very, very satisfied with what he did after that, bringing out several referees to the ring to try to get him to stop. Heel hook, thank you. But Darby Darby beat him with an inside cradle, a wrestling move, so showing that Darby Allin is not all, coffin drops. And I mean, he is a really tremendous wrestler. And, this match honestly did take a while to really get going because of the grappling that was going on in the ring. So yeah, Scorpio Sky really breaking out on his own here. Yeah, Polar Family says Sky's turn pretty much killed SCU, in my opinion. Well, I mean, Kaz and Christopher Daniels are still known as SCU, but it certainly does break that up in more ways than one. So yeah, if this leads to Scorpio Sky getting another shot, I'm certainly going to enjoy that. Maybe a ladder match, that'd be interesting. I'd like to see that versus Darby Allin. These guys can, go for 20 minutes to a half an hour or whatever. Would love to see it. And last but certainly not least, what we were waiting for to see what is going to become of the Inner Circle. We saw teases of that after the unsuccessful attempt at getting the AEW Tag Team Championships from Jericho and MJF against the Bucks. and Revolution, saying that they were going to have a war council at this week's Dynamite. So out comes Jericho, MJF, Santana Ortiz, and Hagar. And it sounded like Jericho wanted to maybe add someone to the Inner Circle, which is very interesting. You know, who is he maybe going to add? We don't know. It certainly was not going to be the guy who came out, Sammy Guevara. But then MJF says, no, it's time to maybe get rid of someone from the Inner Circle. And Sammy Guevara comes out. He's like, you just got to watch this. You just got to watch this. Turns Jericho's attention to the big video screen in the back, the big Tron. And it shows Santana and Ortiz hanging out with Hagar. MJF comes in and says, it's time. We've been planning this for a while. It is time to kick out Jericho from the Inner Circle. Cue back to the middle of the ring where everybody is standing. And MJF is like, I didn't want it to go down like this, but here you go. Get them, boys. And Hagar, Santana, and Ortiz slowly make their way to the other side of the ring, but then stand at the side of Jericho. It's like, you stupid son of a bitch, MJF. Did you really think that these guys were going to turn on me? And he shoves MJF down to the opposite corner of the ring, firing him from the Inner Circle. And so Jericho is flanked by Hagar, Santana Ortiz, and a returning Sammy Guevara. Very interesting, you know, bringing all this to the light. Is this going to heal up things? And I mean heal as in a positive way of healing, not heal. Is this going to heal up things between Sammy and Chris Jericho? We have to wait and see. Because I certainly want to see more of the tag team of Sammy Hagar. Cue Sammy Hagar with the promo talking about his favorite tag team of Sammy Guevara and Jake Hagar. So then MJF reveals that he was creating his own group all along. Lights out in the ring. And there appears Wardlow, Tully Blanchard with FTR, and Shawn Spears, all with a beatdown to the Inner Circle. Busting open the head of Chris Jericho, dragging him to the stage for Wardlow to powerbomb him off the stage through a bunch of tables to the outside. A new inception of a horseman, you know. I don't know what they're going to call this. I saw something online about the Outer Circle. I think that's horrible. I hope they don't call it that. So I like this. I like this. Is this going to turn into some large War Games type match coming up? I certainly hope so, because it's got all the combustible factors here between Inner Circle and MJF's new group. Very interesting. I mean, we saw that recently with the return of Shawn Spears. I am excited to see him. They call him the chairman, and he certainly did take out Sammy Guevara. And we haven't heard a lot about Shawn Spears' return and, you know, what all happened with that. Was he injured? Was he unhappy? Because they even they even took him off the roster page. But then he returned for, I believe it was a week or two later when they did the tribute show to Brody Lee. And he was out there on the stage with the whole roster. So, where does this leave? What are we going to call this new group? Light up the chat. What would you call this? I mean, yeah, okay, you could call this, you could jokingly, someone said, oh, Eric Travis, thank you. The Poor Horseman, JAYBONE. Yes, the Poor Horseman. Mark says, hashtag push XLAX. Sure. Hopefully that'll bring some more shine to these guys. They have not left the side of Jericho. So the inner circle is still alive and well with Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Jake Hagar, and the former LAX, Santana and Ortiz. But now we've got this new group of MJF, who seems to be leading Tully Blanchard with FTR. Wardlow, of course, still at the side of MJF, looking larger than life here in this closing segment, and Shawn Spears, the chairman. So, yeah, I can't wait to see what happens here. Yeah, Eric Travis says Spears' new look is awesome. I agree. He's got that short blonde mohawk, It's a fresh look, clean look. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I hope this leads to some huge, crazy, exploding War Games death match, because you got to top that. No, we'll see. We'll see. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts in the chat about this new team of MJFs. What would you call it? I'm sure we're going to find out sooner rather than later. So that is a fallout from Revolution. I thoroughly enjoyed this fallout episode of AEW Dynamite. We got a lot of new beginnings and a lot of new rivalries that we're going to see play out in the following weeks and months ahead. We've got a huge card for next week for the St. Patty's Day Slam or Shamrock Slam, whatever you want to call next week's show on AEW Dynamite, headlined by Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa in a lights out no DQ match. Can't wait. Very excited to see the ladies headline this one. They certainly deserve it. They're going to shine here. Polar Family says Pentagon didn't do too bad on the microphone either. Yeah, his English is improving. Of course, he had Alex at his side there, and no shade to Pentagon. But yeah, great to see him get this moment. He'll be in a match with Cody. Can't wait to see how that goes. He is going to rip up Cody. I can't wait to see that. Pentagon being one of my favorites still from the old days of rest in peace, Lucha Underground. It's it's crazy to think where everybody went over the course of the last few years after the passing of Lucha Underground. So, yeah, can't wait to see what happens next week. Certainly tune in back here and smash this podcast as we get out of here, folks. Don't forget to smash that like button, smash that sub button, and ring that bell for notifications. Why? So that you know when more of my content hits your screen. Also on the audio at anchor.fm/smash this podcast, where it goes all over the place. Spotify, Apple, Google, Castbox, Verbal, Podbean. Who knows where it's going to show up next? So for your bone on the go check that out. No throwback tonight. We had some scheduling problems. We had some stuff going on. So we're going to continue the throwback next week, as far as I know. And who knows? I might go live later tonight with some other stuff. Seeing as this was a little off, I didn't do this last night. It is now Thursday. we'll see. And if not, well, hey, I'll be back Friday night for SmackDown or whatever else happens with the latest news and whatnot in the world of professional wrestling. So we get out of here. Have a tremendous Thursday. Much love, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. See ya.